I let my neighbor host her daughter's graduation party in my backyard. The next morning, I found cigarette burns on my deck, my grill gone, and trash piled high. "We figured it was part of the celebration," she said, tossing me a cold slice of cake. I didn't argue, but a letter from my insurance company was already in her mailbox. This happened in early June of last year, and I still think about it every time I sit on my deck. I'm a 52-year-old guy living alone in a modest one-story ranch just outside Charleston. My wife passed away 6 years ago. Our daughter, Anna, lives up in D.C. now. I keep to myself mostly. I keep my lawn cut, my house in shape, and my backyard is something I've put a lot of time into. New deck, fresh stain, string lights, garden beds. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine. It's the one thing I've managed to keep nice. Tara moved in next door about 2 years ago. Single mom, works long shifts at the hospital. Her daughter, Olivia, was a senior at the local high school. I didn't know them well, but they seemed fine. Tara was the kind of neighbor who didn't talk much unless she needed something, usually to ask if a package was delivered or if I'd mind taking her trash cans in when she worked late. About a week before Olivia's graduation, Tara rang my doorbell. I opened it, and she launched into this speech, all smiles and fast talking. Said she didn't have much space for a party, her backyard was basically a dirt pit, and would I be willing to let her host something small in mine? "I'll bring everything, tables, food, drinks. We won't be loud.
Just family. 20 people, max. No drinking.
Just a cookout for Olivia and her cousins." I hesitated. My gut said no. I just finished restaining the deck and was planning to keep it clean through summer. But she looked tired, desperate even. "I don't have anywhere else to do this," she said. It would just mean a lot to her. And to me. I should have trusted my gut. But I said yes. Told her I was going to Asheville that weekend to visit my brother and wouldn't be around. She said that was fine, promised she'd clean everything before I got back. Even offered to mow my lawn the day before. She smiled like we were friends. So I left Friday morning and didn't think about it again until Sunday evening when I pulled back into my driveway. First red flag? My trash bin was overflowing and the lid wouldn't close. There were Solo cups and beer cans shoved in on top. I walked around the side gate and just froze. My backyard looked like it had been hit by a frat party. There were plates in the bushes, pizza boxes on the deck, trash bags lined up against the fence, ripped open, food spilled out, empty soda bottles. Someone had knocked over my tomato planters. My string lights were still on, one strand sagging, half the bulbs busted. And the deck. My deck looked like someone had stubbed out a pack of cigarettes directly into the wood. 5, maybe 6 dark burns. Right near the patio chairs. Melted plastic in one spot. Grease stains where someone spilled something and didn't clean it. And then I noticed it.
My grill. Gone.
It wasn't just moved. It was gone. The whole damn thing, cover, utensils, propane tank, all of it. I stood there for a minute, hands on my hips, just breathing. I wasn't even mad yet. I was in shock. Then I walked straight to Tara's door. She opened it like she'd just gotten out of bed. Sweatpants, messy hair. Holding a plate. "Oh, hey," she said, cheerful. "Everything went great. Thanks again for letting us use the yard." I didn't smile. I just said, "Where's my grill?" She blinked.
Oh, yeah.
"I think Olivia's boyfriend moved it. Or maybe someone took it home by accident. I'll ask around." "By accident?" I said. She laughed a little like I was being uptight. "We figured a little mess was part of the celebration," she said. Then she held out the plate toward me. "There's leftover cake. Want some?" I looked at the plate. One cold, dry slice. Like that was supposed to make up for everything. I didn't say a word. I didn't take the cake. I walked back to my house and sat down at the kitchen table. Then I called my insurance company. They took photos the next day. Wrote it up. My policy covered property damage caused by invited guests. And they were very clear. The damages were not minor. They valued the repairs to my deck at $2,200. The grill, a Weber Genesis I bought last spring, was listed at $1,300. Here's where it gets interesting. I told the adjuster everything. He asked if I had permission from the neighbor to let them use the yard. I said yes. He asked if I knew their last name. I said yes again. We'll handle it, he said. 2 days later, a letter was dropped in Tara's mailbox. I watched her get it. She stood at the curb, reading it, then just stared at the paper for a long time. She came to my door a few hours later. You filed a claim against me? I said yes.
Calmly.
Told her the damage was documented. Told her it wasn't a little mess. Told her she either let people ruin my property or just didn't care enough to stop them. You said you'd take care of everything, I reminded her. It was just a party, she said, voice rising. We don't have money for all this. Do you know how hard I work? I didn't yell. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, not my problem. She walked away furious. And that was just the start. The next week, I started getting cold stares from a few of the other neighbors. I'd lived on the street for over 15 years. Never had a single issue. But suddenly, people I used to wave to just looked the other way. I found out why on Thursday. I was coming back from the grocery store when Denise, a woman 2 doors down, walked right up to me in the driveway. You didn't have to report her, she said. I set the bags down in the trunk. Excuse me? She's a single mom, Mike. She's struggling. You could have just talked to her. I did, I said. And she handed me a slice of cake. Denise rolled her eyes like I was being dramatic. She's saying you're trying to ruin her. That you knew she didn't have money, and you did it out of spite. Spite? Let me tell you something. I don't care if you're broke or rich. You don't destroy someone's property and act like it's no big deal. You don't steal their grill and smile about it. And you don't lie to neighbors so they'll turn on the person you wronged. But Tara? She started doing exactly that. She told people I was heartless, that I overreacted, that I was a grumpy old man with no life, and that the grill was probably just misplaced. She even hinted that maybe I had made it all up for insurance money. And for a while it worked. I'd wave at folks and get nothing back. One guy who used to borrow my ladder crossed the street when he saw me. Someone put an anonymous note in my mailbox. You should be ashamed. But I wasn't ashamed. I was angry. And I wasn't done. That weekend, I asked the claims rep to send me a copy of all the paperwork. He'd already submitted a demand for restitution to Tara. They'd either garnish her wages or take her to small claims court. But I noticed something when I read the documents. Tara hadn't just thrown a party. She'd put it on Facebook. Public invite. Backyard bash, celebrate Olivia's graduation. Free food and drinks. She'd even included my address, saying, come enjoy a nice big yard with a view. The guest list wasn't 20 people. It was closer to 70. Photos were still up. Red Solo cups, people dancing on the deck, a guy holding a beer can using my grill. One of them was standing on top of my patio chair doing a keg stand. And in the background of one photo, there it was. My grill. Sitting in someone's pickup truck bed. License plate and all. So, I did what anyone would do. I called the cops. The officer who came out was a younger guy, probably mid-30s, but sharp. I handed him the printed photos. He stared at them, flipping through one by one. Whose truck is that? He asked, pointing at the grill photo. I don't know, I said. But that's my grill. That's my deck. And that's not Tara or her daughter. Those are random people she invited to a private family party. He took the photos and the file number for my insurance claim. A few days later, he came back. Guy who drove off with your grill is named Brandon, he said. 19 years old. Friend of Olivia's boyfriend. He says he thought it was a free-for-all and figured the grill was being given away.
Can you believe that?
No, I said. But it sounds about right. They recovered the grill. It was scratched, dented, and the igniter was broken. But it was mine. I didn't even want it back. It felt ruined. What I did want was to make sure this wasn't just swept under the rug. So, I pressed charges. Stolen property. Property damage.
Trespassing.
3 counts. And once I filed the report, things changed real fast. Tara came to my house again, this time with Olivia. Both of them stood on my porch, red-eyed, quiet. "I just want this to go away," she said.
Please.
"Olivia's leaving for college in the fall. This is going to ruin everything." I looked at her daughter. She didn't say a word, just stared down at her shoes. Tara kept going. "We didn't think it would get out of hand. I didn't know those people would show up. I swear." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But she had weeks to come clean, to take responsibility. And she didn't. So I said, "It's not my job to clean up your mess." She didn't argue this time, just nodded, turned around, and walked away with her daughter behind her. A few weeks later, Olivia's boyfriend's friend pled out, got community service. The court ordered Tara to pay restitution. The exact number? $3,924. She tried to fight it, but she lost. And now she's making payments.
Slowly.
Quietly. But she hasn't spoken to me since. And I found out something else. That cake slice she tried to give me? She didn't even make it. It was store-bought. Already a day old. I still sit out there sometimes, on that same deck. The burns are sanded down, the trash is long gone, and the new grill works just fine. But it doesn't feel the same. It's not about the money, or even the damage. It's the part where someone looked me in the eye, ruined something I cared about, and handed me a slice of cake like that made us even. And every time I think about it, I wonder how many other people in my life thought I was too quiet to fight back. About a month after the court ruling, I got a knock on my door late one evening. It was Olivia. Alone this time. She stood there holding something, a folder. Her eyes were puffy, like she'd been crying. I didn't know what to say, so I just stepped aside and let her in. She sat at my kitchen table and pushed the folder toward me. Inside were printed screenshots, texts, social media messages, even a few handwritten notes. It took me a few minutes to realize what I was looking at. They were all from Tara, to her daughter, and to other people.
Some of the messages were about me.
Most of them weren't. There were threats, guilt trips, manipulation. One message said, "If you don't fix this with a neighbor, you can forget about college money." Another, "You ruined everything. I hope you're happy now." I looked at Olivia. She was shaking. "I didn't want to come here," she said. "But I needed you to know it wasn't just the party. My mom's always like this." I didn't know what to say. She said she'd try to stop the party from growing out of control. Said she told her mom not to post the invite online. Said she stayed inside most of the night. "I'm sorry about your grill.
And your deck.
And everything. But mostly I'm sorry you got pulled into all this." Then she asked something I didn't expect. "Do you think people ever really change?" I looked at her for a long time, but I didn't have an answer. She left the folder and walked out. And the next day, Tara's car was gone. Not just for the day. For good. A neighbor said she moved back in with her sister in Colombia. Olivia, apparently, stayed behind, renting a room from someone across town, working 2 jobs. The restitution payments stopped 2 weeks later. And then I got another letter, this time from a collections lawyer. It was just starting again. I contacted the collections lawyer. He confirmed what I already suspected. Tara had defaulted on the court-ordered payments. Legally, they could garnish wages, but only if they knew where she was working now. She hadn't updated her employment info. The lawyer said, "We can file, but if she's off the grid or working under the table, it'll just sit." So the debt sat. Meanwhile, my name was still mud in the neighborhood. I overheard 2 women talking outside the local market. One said, "He really ruined that girl's graduation over some lawn furniture." I didn't even bother correcting her. Then in mid-September, something strange happened. I came home from work and found a small brown envelope taped to my door. No name, just sorry written in blue ink on the front. Inside was $200 in 20s and a folded receipt from a hardware store for deck stain and sealant. No note.
No explanation.
At first, I thought it was Olivia. But the next day, I saw her outside, across the street, getting into a beat-up sedan. I asked her about the envelope. She looked confused. "I didn't leave anything," she said. "I don't even have $200 right now." So now I was more confused. The money kept coming. Every 2 weeks or so, another envelope. Always the same. Taped to the door. Sometimes just $40, sometimes $100. A few times there was a small gift, a pack of grill tools, a bottle of stain remover, once even a new hose nozzle like the one that went missing after the party. Still no note.
No signature.
I asked around. No one had seen anything. No one had cameras facing my house. It kept happening for 3 months. Then, right before Christmas, it stopped. The last envelope had no cash. Just a short line scribbled on a grocery receipt. You didn't deserve any of that. I'm trying. Still no name. And I haven't heard from Tara since. After that last envelope, I started checking my porch every day out of habit. But nothing else showed up. Christmas passed. Then New Year's. The neighborhood got quiet again. People were decorating less, talking less. I wondered if everyone just wanted to forget the mess of the summer. But I couldn't forget. Not completely. Not with that folder Olivia had left behind. One evening in January, I pulled it back out. I hadn't read all the messages the first time. Now I sat at my kitchen table, reading every word. Some were long rants, Tara accusing Olivia of siding with strangers, or threatening to cut her off financially. Others were short and cold. You think he cares about you? You're just like your father. Let's see how long you make it without me. And then there was one that stuck with me. He's just some old man who couldn't stand to be left out. If he mattered, someone would have been there for him that night too. That one hit different. I sat with that line for a long time. I'd been so angry for so long. Angry about the deck, the grill, the lies. But under all that, there was something else I hadn't said out loud. That night, when they were out there laughing and shouting in my yard, it felt like I didn't exist. Like I was watching a movie I wasn't invited to. That was the part one never told anyone. And now it was on paper, written by someone who barely knew me, but still managed to find the softest part to jab. A week later, I got another knock on the door. Not Olivia. Not Tara. It was Denise, the neighbor who once told me I should be ashamed. She stood on my porch holding a small box. I think this is yours, she said, handing it over. It was in my garage. My husband swears he saw someone drop it off months ago and forgot to mention it. I opened it after she left. Inside was my grill's original cover. And a set of keys I hadn't seen since the party. My spare shed keys. Wrapped in a towel. There was a note at the bottom of the box. I found these when I moved out. I know it doesn't fix anything, but it's yours. The handwriting was shaky. It wasn't Olivia's. I looked at the note again. The handwriting was messier than the others. A little shaky. Some of the letters slanted downward, like whoever wrote it had rushed through. I still didn't know who it was. I checked the back of the note, the towel, even the inside of the box. Nothing else. No name, no return address. I kept the box on the kitchen counter for days. Every time I passed it, I'd open it again, read the note, stare at the keys. And slowly, I started to notice something. Little changes around the neighborhood. One afternoon, I caught Denise waving to me again, like nothing had ever happened. A week later, the guy across the street who used to avoid me stopped by to ask if I had a jumper cable. No mention of the past, just neighbor talk. Then one Sunday morning, I was raking up leaves when Olivia walked up the driveway. She looked tired, worn out in a way I hadn't seen before. "Do you have a second?" she asked. I nodded, set the rake down. She pulled something out of her coat pocket. A photo. It was a small printout, like the kind you get from a cheap home printer. It was Tara. Sitting on a hospital bed, holding a clipboard. She looked thinner.
Pale.
"She's in treatment," Olivia said quietly. "Up in Colombia. Got diagnosed in October. She didn't tell me until a month ago."
I didn't know what to say.
Olivia kept going. "She's sick, but she's also still herself. She doesn't want to talk about the money, or the court stuff, or anything that happened." Then she looked up at me. "But I think she's the one who left you those envelopes." I nodded slowly. "I figured," I said. Olivia hesitated. "I'm not asking for anything. I just thought you should know, in case she doesn't make it right with you herself." I looked at the photo again. Tara looked so small in it. Angry, even from a hospital bed. I didn't say much. Just thanked her. And when she left, I put the photo in the same folder she'd given me months ago. I didn't know why I kept it, but I did. I still sit out there sometimes, on that same deck. And even when the boards are clean and the lights are fixed, I can still feel that burn, not from the cigarettes but from what it showed me. Not just about her.
About me.
How long I let people take and smile like it didn't matter. And I keep wondering if nobody had broken anything, would I have ever said a word?